All right, good evening, everyone. It's good to see everybody here. Tonight, for the agenda, we'll call to order. We'll have our flag salute, announcements, minutes of the last meeting if anybody has any corrections for them. Then the American Red Cross is here to talk to us about the Prepare SoCal program, and Kurt Wilson will be here to present it to us. Next, Rick Drew, who attended the Canyon Country Town Hall meeting, will give us a little update of what happened, and he also is on the Whitaker Burmite CAG team, the Citizens Advisory Group, and he will give us a presentation about what happened there. Then I'm going to talk about three things. One is how the Sanitation Board spends your money, because there were some issues about how much money they were going to spend for outreach, and we had some discussions about that. Then also what's going on with the LA County stormwater tax. We had another bus trip down to LA County Board of Supervisors meeting. And lastly, a little bit about the I-5 toll lane road that's being proposed for 13 and a half miles through Santa Clarita on the I-5. Then, this is the time of the year that we nominate officers for the 2013 time frame, so we'll do 2013 officer nominations. Then our version of public participation, which is 1 minute for the first 5 people that want to come up and say something about the meeting, and then we'll have a next meeting preview of what's going to happen in April, and then we'll adjourn. Normally we do tributes before the flag salute, and this month I thought I was going to go look around for somebody that's done some really unusual stuff. And as I went through, I found this gentleman here, Lieutenant Colonel James Gordon Atkins. And this gentleman served in the Air Force as a navigator during World War II. And so he retired after World War II, and then he was called back to active duty for the Korean War. And then he retired after the Korean War, and he was called back to active duty for the Vietnam War. And then after the Vietnam War, he did some flights during the Cold War and finally retired. And he took his last flight in life on November the 4th, 2009. But I think it shows that sometimes we didn't have any stories of super unusual activities, but just the fact that he spent that much time in the service of his country, I think, makes him one of our heroes. And it proves that there are heroes everywhere, and they're all around us. So if you would, Berta, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Right hand over your heart, and we'll salute if that is where you're at. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, for announcements, there still is 2 town hall meetings left. Bob Kellar, last time he was in office, had 4 meetings around, 1 in each quadrant of the city, and this time he's doing the same thing. So he's done the New Hall meeting, he's done the Canyon Country meeting, and so we have a Saugus meeting coming on April the 30th at Rosedale Elementary School, and then one on May the 7th at Valencia Valley Elementary School. Now, you don't have to live in Saugus or Valencia to attend, so if you've missed the other 2 and you want to get in there and ask the mayor a question or 2 or hear what's going on, well, I would advise you to attend. Again, the city is going to start another round of CERT training, emergency response team training, and if you really want to know what it's like, talk to Rick Drew after the meeting, because Rick and his wife both went through CERT training. Anyway, it's going to start. It'll be on Thursday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. beginning April the 4th through May the 16th. And you can register online, and the course is $30 per person. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more as the meeting goes on, but there is the last of our local meetings on the I-5 Express toll lane on March the 28th, 6:30 to 8:30, in the City of Santa Clarita Council Chambers. And it's the fourth meeting in our area. And so what they're going to do is the agenda is going to include talking about the draft supplemental EIR and the proposed tolling policy. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit because it's really an amazing deal. We'll explain to you exactly what it is because it's a tolling amount that will vary depending upon the amount of traffic that's on the road at the time. Now, normally we don't do this early, but because of what's going on, I thought it was appropriate that we gave everybody the information. It's we don't, as we normally do, we do not campaign here in the meetings, but we do, and we have since 2006, run candidate forums and candidate meet and greets. So we're going to continue to do that, and since everything's heating up so early, I thought one thing to do would be to let you know exactly what's going on in the group. And any time that I can find out that there's going to be a place where the candidates are going to get together and have a discussion or have a talk, I'll let you know. And if you find some information about that out, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know, and we'll pass it on to the group. So this is the 2014 elections, which will take place in April of 2014. They're for a 4-year term. 3 seats are up for re-election. And the 3 seats are Marcia McLean's, Lorraine West, and Frank Ferry's. Marcia and Lorraine have already indicated that they will seek re-election. And Frank Ferry has declared that he will not. So this should be the last term that Frank is serving. Currently, we have 4 other declared candidates. Gloria Mercado Fortine, who is on the Hart School Board, Maria Gutzeit, who is on the Newhall Water Board, Dante Acosta, who you may remember ran for the congressional seat in the primary against Buck McKeon, and I came out and announced as well. We have hosted these council debates and meet and greets, and because I'm a candidate, obviously I will not take part in managing them. And we're going to make them as fair and as we possibly can. These will probably be scheduled somewhere in the November 2013 to the March 2014 timeframe. That's pretty consistent with what we've always done. We'll talk in the board of directors and we'll find out exactly who will be the person in charge, because we want them to be able to go to all the candidates impartially and ask them to participate, and typically they all do. We had the exception of one candidate last time that didn't want to, but for the most of the cases, they're all there. No other campaigning will occur at a County Country Advisory Committee meeting, and we do that. However, if a candidate shows up, if there's one person there, we'll introduce them to you, and then if you want to talk to them after the meeting, that'll be perfectly acceptable. City Council officers are nonpartisan, and all candidates at the County Country Advisory Committee will be treated equally. We don't do any partisan politics here. We don't mention those 2 4-letter words that start with a D or an R here. We only talk about what's going on in the city, and we'll continue to do that same thing. As I asked you to, we'll keep you informed about events that feature other people, and that does not indicate that we endorse or support any candidate or event. So the County Country Advisory Committee as a group does not endorse candidates. Everybody in the group is perfectly acceptable for them to endorse a candidate as an individual, but as a group, we do not endorse candidates. And we do not necessarily indicate that any of these are good or bad events. We're just going to tell you that they exist because we don't make the rules up for those events. We can just report on to you that they're there. So please let us know if you know of any, and so we can pass them on. Now, we know that the first one is going to take place. This chart's a little out of date. We know that the SCV Republican Assembly is going to feature SCVRA members who have announced candidacy. That's going to be tomorrow night. It's going to be 6:30 at the Egg Plantation in Newhall. And right now, Dante and myself and Gloria have committed to be there, and along with Marcia and Lorraine. Marcia and Lorraine have now rejoined the SCVRA, and they will be presenting as well. Now, I know it's going to be tough. Yes?
That meeting is not open to the public.
That's correct. That meeting is only open to SCVRA members. And that's why I went through this whole thing originally, because we don't make up these rules. I'll tell you what they are and where the things are occurring. Now, what I will tell you is it's going to be video recorded, so you're probably going to be able to see it anyway at a later date. So I know it's going to be tough. I'm extremely nervous from getting up and speaking in public, but we'll probably be able to work my way through it. From attendance, we're tracking attendance, and it's just chugging along at about where it's. We're starting to get back to where we were last year. Remember, in the preceding time where that attendance was low, this room has an air conditioning problem. They haven't fixed it yet. I'm hoping that they'll fix it before it gets hot, and we'll continue to see attendance go up. I started looking at video statistics, and you'll probably recognize that this chart changed a lot. The blue represents how many views. What is it's not really true. The blue represents the largest number of views on any video that we published that month. Okay, and so that's what we show. And then the red indicates how many people viewed it after the fact. And so I thought it was really interesting. Normally I only go back about 3 months because I figured, after about 3 months no one's really interested. But all of a sudden I went back and like here, even in November 2011, I went back and I found some of these things people have been looking at, and all of a sudden the red numbers shot way up. So it's very interesting that there are, and just about all of those that have very high numbers were all past candidate forums. So that's a very interesting understanding of what's going on and what people are interested in. And we'll keep you posted more about what's going on. Just 1 second before we do officer nominations, I just thought I'd tell, is my friend here that's interested in the bridge over the 14 still here? Is he gone?
He just left.
Oh, too bad. I just want to tell you that came up in the CCMA meeting also. If you remember, that bridge project was supposed to start in the spring of this year, but now is not going to start until the end of this year. And I asked some questions about it, and I didn't really get a good answer, but I got it later. The reason that's causing the delay, because if you remember, they paid for the design. We waited a year for the design. Then they submitted it to Caltrans. We waited a year for Caltrans. And then they were ready to go get started, and Robert Newman was going to borrow money from another bridge and thoroughfare district so that we can get this earlier with the money coming in 2015 from a grant. Everybody remember that? Okay. What happened is Caltrans changed their mind and said your design is inadequate. They want more lanes on and off ramp. They want more lanes on the on and off ramp, which caused the city now to go back and redesign that bridge. So that's the redesign effort that's going on. In this particular case, it is not because of the city. It's not because of Robert Newman's group. It is because Caltrans changed the requirements. Okay. CCA officer nominations. Do I have a nomination for chair?
I would like to nominate Alan Ferdman.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. Any other nomination? Do we have a nomination for co-chair? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other nomination? No. Secretary? We have a nomination for secretary? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Those are the three nominations we'll start with. Elections are in April. If you've remember the way that the bylaws are, if you show up here and you've been to 2 meetings, then you can vote, and we'll also take additional nominations next month. New business, do we have any public speakers? Ed Dunn, do you want a minute?
I was going to take a You're showing 30 years on some of that reason. You're showing 30 years on, I'm commenting on what you just presented on the toll road. And there's 30 years, county and whoever else, all the Caltrans, all that, are planning on what they're going to do. And there was no word of Tejon Ranch. They're going to build in that amount of time. And what are they going to do to 5?
Well, yeah, actually, that's one of the things that we talked to the chief engineer about. We kept asking that question. We said, you know what, 20,000 homes going in Newhall Ranch. The Tejon Ranch, at one time they had 35,000. I don't know how many they got now. There's all kinds of development all the way up and down to 5. You're going to add 1 lane, and you think that's going to do anything, and then you're going to say, I don't have any money for 30 years? Well, you know what? It's going to be gridlock. Everybody can lounge around in exhaust fumes on their way to work. That's all I can say. Right? We got to get these guys to be more realistic. Okay, for the next meeting, we'll status the $20 million projects in Canyon Country. They talked about it at the Canyon Country Merchants Association meeting. And we dissected the list, and we'll show you where the money is coming from for all those different projects. And then we can also give you a good follow-up on the K-Hits bus trip, because it was a great trip. It was there was no spare time. No spare time. We got there. We were in meetings, rushed to dinner, out in the meetings, and then we did have a little spare time in the bar when we were almost accosted by Clippers, but basketball players, but. That's another story. And then the next day we got up. We were in meetings straight all the way through till 3:30, and then out on the bus. And so we got home last night probably about 10:30. And so, but we met with a lot of people, and we want to let you know what happened. And Spence and I will do that for you at the next meeting. So I'd like to thank all of you for choosing to come to. Oh, did you have something you want to say?
I got update on the ordinance for the mobile home park residents that I need to talk to. Okay, my name's Doug Frazier. I'm with the mobile home park resident representative on the city rent adjustment board. Sand Canyon Park, they had a petition and a resolution by the city. Ray Henry, he's managed to push the city to investigate the hearing and resolution that was performed. The attorney did a report on it, and we are supposed to meet with Ken Strickland, the manager, twice, but he canceled on the 6th, and then he canceled on the 13th. So Bob Kellar then agreed to take his place and meet with us. So we're in the process now of meeting with Bob Kellar about the hearing and the resolution that took place for Sand Canyon Park. Yeah,
but Ken Strickland is a family member that's very, very ill. So that's probably why you haven't seen much of him.
He also said he was in Sacramento for a couple.
Yeah, but I heard that he's he's backed out of the roast and the Elks roast in the weekend because his family member is very, very sick. So, and I was wondering, do you know if the mobile home ordinance is part of the UDCs that are going to the council or the planning commission right now?
This is a municipal code, Santa Clarita municipal code, actually, that cannot be changed unless it goes to the council. And I don't think they change it first without having a rent adjustment meeting to discuss it. So I haven't heard nothing on that. But we do need to correct the attitude of the city towards this code and the way they enforce it, though. Okay. So that's what we're hoping to talk to Bob Kellar about. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read it. I know in the last planning commission meeting that took place Tuesday, there was 100 pages of changes. So I don't know which ordinances actually got changed, and I haven't seen the.
Nothing's been changed. The meeting's been continued.
Oh, they continued that meeting? Okay. All right. So and they only would have been an advisory group anyway. Then it would have went to the council. Yes.
I would just like to make a comment on the I-5 new toll lane. This is double taxation. We as taxpayers have already paid for this in our property taxes, and whatnot. And if you want to think about it, they've made it so that answering your cell phone is illegal without a headset. So now they want us to whip out a calculator with their sign to determine how much we're going to have to pay. How many accidents is that going to cause?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk more about the toll road. We'll go through and we'll talk more about the toll road and the way it's being financed. One thing I learned when we were in Sacramento is the chief way that our elected politicians in Sacramento fix problems is they add more money. Okay, so we'll see. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for choosing to come to Canyon Country Advisory Committee meeting, and I hope to see you again back here next month. Thank you.